Oh, there it goes.
And we're there, Maya. We are
Mhm.
there. We are here and we are so excited to just dive deep into today's conversation. But before we dive deep into today's conversation, we want to first welcome you. Good afternoon, good evening. Come on into the room, come on into the chat, come on into the conversation, because we would like to take this time just to let you know everything that's happening here at Bethany Church, but especially what we experienced this weekend. But we always like to shout you guys out. So we want to hear where you're tuning in from. Make sure that you comment, as well as share the broadcast. But if this is your very first time, it's your first time seeing my face, it's your first time seeing Maya's face, or you may saw her face somewhere else, but this is your first time tuning in to
Mhm.
the app in particular, we want to welcome you. So please make sure that you indicate that it's your first time by putting the VIP in the comments, or just putting a hand emoji. We always like to communicate with you guys, and just see who's in the room, because like we say every week, we want you to feel like we're just chilling in your living room and just having just some chatter, some talk, right? But talking about good things.
Absolutely. This is
So
a
please
safe
indicate.
space. Mhm.
Yeah, it's a safe space. We want to hear from you, as we say every week. You make this broadcast what it is. So we want to hear from you, how you're feeling on this Monday, how you enjoyed this weekend. So many things happened this weekend at Bethany Church that we're so excited to talk about, but we want to hear from you as well. So again, I encourage you to drop your comments, drop your thoughts, drop your perspectives in the comments. Or if you just want to say hi, or just let us know where you're watching, tuning in from, we would love to hear from that as well. Right, Mai?
Absolutely. So, like Kev said, if you're watching for the first time, type VIP so we can give you a proper welcome. But then also, like Keisha just did, let us know where you're tuning in from so you can rep your city and we can show you guys some love, because we know we have people who tune in all around the world. And while we might have some distance between us, we are still one church family. So we want to make sure that we ensure you feel welcomed and as if you are right here in Lindenwold, New Jersey with us.
All right now. All over the world. All over the world.
Mhm.
So we want to say welcome to November. It is the first Monday in November. Well, I'm not even going to ask you how you feel, because I already know you
It
probably have some Christmas music playing already.
is Christmas
Even though we
Eve.
haven't even touched Thanksgiving yet.
Thanksgiving is part of the Christmas I
uh,
holiday.
oh,
I feel it's all one
okay.
thing. It's all
Oh,
one
so
thing.
it all goes together, huh? Is
Absolutely.
that what you're saying?
Of course it does. It's one joyous occasion that
I
lasts
love
for
it.
a
I
month.
love it. You know what? And I love that for you. I love that, because Christmas and Thanksgiving, all the holidays that are back to back, it just shows a sense of love. It always demonstrates to me. I love the holidays because it always demonstrates love, happiness, and just being around those that you love the most. And it also is the example of what we do at church, right? So, what we did mention on Sunday is that we are in our second month of our Get Serious Challenge.
Mhm.
So, we spent a whole month already just talking about the importance of the challenge and getting serious, and meaning, sowing more of that time, that talent, and treasure back into the church. So, throughout the month of October, we had ministry tables that were outside in the hallway, Harvest Hall, just giving you a slew of information of what goes on at Bethany Church, right? And so many people, I commend you guys for going out and doing that. Now, we're in our second month, right? So you're probably like, hey, Kev, this first month we were just getting acclimated. We were just getting into it. So, right, we got into it the first month. Now we're in the second month, and we want to keep that fire burning, right? So we want to encourage you that as we go into the second month, that you continue to get serious.
Yes.
When the weather gets a little cold, we get a little lazy, right? We don't feel like doing certain things. So we want you guys to continue to keep that fire burning for God, because, ultimately this challenge is not for us. It's not for Bethany Church. It's for your personal and spiritual growth.
Right.
And not only that, to also be a blessing or example to someone else, because you never know who may be you, like look at you as an example of Christ. So, you may be that first example for someone. So we encourage you as we get into this new month that we just continue to keep ourselves fed, spiritually, also, mentally as well, and emotionally. Because like we said, I don't know if it was last week or the week before mine, we also said that, as much as this is a joyous time for so many, it
Yeah.
could also be a sad time because it gets
Absolutely.
darker earlier and it's colder, and it's not a comfortable time for some. So we want to just make sure that we are being intentional about this challenge, because you're going to hear it every time you see Maya and I, whether it's on the recap, whether it's on Engage, whatever it may be. We want to make sure that we are holding each other accountable and holding each other and being that, that connection and that foundation for each other during this time, right,
Absolutely.
Maya?
Absolutely. And another wonderful thing about this time and how we're participating in the challenge this way is that it affords us the opportunity to be a show of God's love in our lives to others. So, as you guys know, throughout the year, we have an initiative called Catch the Fire that does things throughout the year. So, in August, as we prepare for a new school year, we have our back to school drive.
Yes.
In Thanksgiving time, in Thanksgiving season, we have our turkey drive where we collect coats and gloves and, of course, turkeys to provide to people in the community. And then in December, we will have our toy drive for the children, preparing for the Christmas holiday. So, giving and being a part of the initiative in this way is a twofold thing because, of course, obviously, we are being of help to the community. We're bringing joy to people who might not have or are looking for that glimmer of hope that this will provide in their lives. But it's also an opportunity to witness and to share about Christ and how good He is, how good God is, and is in our lives. But there's also so much that you get in return in being able to help out in this way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to give, not with the anticipation of receiving,
Mm-hmm.
but just knowing that there's a fulfillment that happens in being able to do in this way. So, with that being said, we have our pacifier turkey drive that is happening right now. We are collecting book bags, not book bags. Woo! I went back to school.
Oh,
We are
baby girl,
collecting
we already in school.
right.
First market period done.
We are collecting coats, gloves, hats, things
Yeah.
that are will help make enduring the winter a little bit easier. But then we are also collecting turkeys that we can distribute in the community. We're going to be at Lindenwold High School. We will be at Dunamis Ministries. I can't remember the other place at this time, but I'll make sure to post everything on Facebook today so that you can see all the ways of which we're going to be giving out and how you can participate because we're going to need volunteers to
Yes,
help
we are.
pack everything up and distribute on the day. So the actual drive is going to be happening on September. God, what is wrong with me? I'm trying to take it back.
September, you're trying to take it
No,
back, and this is your time.
the actual drive will be happening on November 18th, which is a Saturday starting at 9 a.m. We're collecting everything up until the 15th. So that Wednesday, we're going to collect everything. Of course, we'll pray over the coats and whatnot and prepare it for when we distribute on that following Saturday on November 18th. So you can be part by going over to our website, go to bethany.com/giving and sowing a love offering there. Of course, you can mail it in or you can provide it while you're perhaps at a service and want to donate then. But I'm really excited for the transformation that will happen in people's lives because we are taking it upon ourselves to act and not expecting others to do, right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Amen. Amen. And I love that you shared that, especially during this Get Serious piece, because you may say, you know what, Kev, I didn't find a ministry that I fully committed to or I feel connected to, but everyone should have a heart of giving, a heart of serving, because
Yeah.
that is what God teaches us day in and day out. So this is an opportunity for you to show that with the Catch the Fire initiative. I personally love Catch the Fire, because it always reminds me of how good God is, because when you see someone else get blessed, it just warms your heart. Oh, the candy
This is
corn.
Sister Helene. You can't see it because of my background, but
Oh, the
you
candy
know the
corn.
candy
Elaine,
corn.
why'd you have to? Why?
This is the
Oh,
last bag, Sister Helene, that I will
oh,
have until next year. Thank you.
praise God. Now, Maya, you can't bring that out. And I was trying to be all nice, and then now I'm talking about your candy corn.
Candy corn is
But no, we are excited for Catch the Fire. So I echo everything that Maya said. Please, catch the fire with us. But not only will it help someone, but it also will help you internally as well. To keep you motivated during this time as we go into the second month of our Get Serious challenge. So I just want to take this opportunity just to shout everyone out. Can you shout all those that are tuning in, all those that indicated something in the comments,
Mhm.
whether it was a hi, whether it was a perspective, whether it was talking about candy corn?
Yeah. So let me say this first, because I know that there are more people watching who have commented. So if you're tuning in, please do us a favor. Say hi. We want to connect with you guys to show you some love. But hey there to Sister Keisha, Helene, Mylita, Keith Bay is here. Who else? I think I saw someone else. I can't find it now, but we're just so happy that you are tuning in with us and being part of this conversation as we talk about the message yesterday.
Yes,
Pastor Nick did his thing.
So listen, before we get to Pastor Nick, because we did get a treat yesterday with
Yeah.
Pastor A. Smith. I just love when Pastor Nick teaches.
Mhm.
He has a way about him. But prior to that, something I do want to highlight that we celebrated this past
Mhm.
weekend was last Friday, a night of worship and thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Now, you guys will be able to see it before Thanksgiving,
Mhm.
but for one, I'm not even gonna go into spiel how much I love worship and everything. But what I will say is the title, let alone a night of worship and thanksgiving. It reminds me of how sometimes when we get the hustle and bustle of the holidays, really get us to forget how thankful we should be in the moment. The actual reason
Yeah.
for the holidays, being thankful to be around those that you love, being thankful just to see another year, just fellowshipping and being thankful for those things. So I just love that, we had that night of worship, thankfulness, of thanksgiving, of, gratefulness, of gratitude and all that. And it really charges me to ask everyone that's tuning in as we go into this next month, what is something that you are grateful or thankful for in this moment? It could be, just being able to have a roof over your head. It could be just being able to fill my tank up this week, right? There's so many different things, because as I always share with anyone that I'm talking to that may be going through something, I always say it may look like it's a negative season right now, it may seem like it's a wilderness that you feel like you're not going to get out. But in order for you to, accomplish the big wins, you got to also celebrate the small wins. And I think sometimes we negate those things or we forget those things. So we got to be thankful for the small things that we accomplish throughout the day that
Mhm.
help us get to the big accomplishments. Right,
Yeah.
Mai?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you said it best. Sometimes we lose track or we get distracted by all the hustle and bustle of life, in particular during the holidays, because you gotta go shopping and you want to live up to the expectations of the holiday. But in that, sometimes we can forget what it really is about, which is the spirit of thankfulness. I can speak for myself when I say God has been good in ways that I don't even know. And even in ways where I'm like, okay, I don't quite know how this makes sense. Why are you
Yeah.
making me go through this right now? What does this mean for my life? I'm
Mhm.
able to see that He has a plan for my life. And then I know it will make sense at some point. Because it happens
Yeah.
so many times where something didn't make sense in the past. And then I get to this moment in time and I'm like, I got it. Right. So being able to find that spirit of thankfulness in anything is really important. So as we are entering into this holiday of Thanksgiving, I think it really is special to just take a step back and to say thank you and have a free heart of just showing that appreciation to God. And that's what a night of worship and Thanksgiving was, where we could come together collectively and just be in praise, and worship with each other. The music, the atmosphere was just, it was different.
Yeah.
We see this because it will air on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Like, everyone was up on the pulpit, and we were just able to be there and present with the move of God that was happening. So yeah, it really was a special occasion, and I can say this officially that it will not be a one and done thing. We will have more moments
Woo!
like this. So definitely be on the lookout
Yeah.
for when and where the next one will be, because we really want to make sure that as a body, as a church, that we want to humble ourselves in this way. Because I think sometimes, I know I'm rambling at this point. I
No,
think
you're not. You're fine.
sometimes when, like, we're at church,
Yeah.
there's a pressure to perform. We need to
Mhm.
uh, meet certain goals or look a certain way to be
Mhm.
a Christian,
Yeah.
right? And that's not what it's about. So
Mhm.
being able to have these moments where it's just authentic worship and everything else fades away, it's just you and God, is
Mhm.
truly, truly special. So we're glad to be able to provide these opportunities a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we are off this fresh, just fresh experience of worship and Thanksgiving, we do ask you, and we'll continue to ask you throughout this month, what are the small things that you are grateful for, that you are thankful for right now in this moment? You can drop them in the comments right now. You can share them throughout any broadcast, because that is what this month is all about. And that's why through our Get Serious challenge, through Catch the Fire, just reiterating that time and time, week after week, Sunday after Sunday, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Pastor Nicholas A. Smith,
Mm-hmm.
the man of God, did not have to bring the house down like he did yesterday.
Yeah.
As it was said in the chat, I see. Yes, Pastor Nick was off the chain, and he brought the fire. He absolutely did that. So, Pastor Nick, we were able to hear Pastor Nick yesterday as he continued in the filter series, but had a sermon series from the series basically called Fight Back,
Yeah.
right? So, Fight Back, we learned that with filters, our filters color our lenses, right? It
Mm-hmm.
gives us a different perspective at life, built on our experiences that we, went through, whether it's interactions with our family, with past relationships, whether it's spiritually, emotionally, mentally. We've built these filters. We've created these filters where we're able to see things in a different lens that's not always positive. And we learned that last week, that Bishop said that we know if our filter is negative, if we are still hurt by something that happened in the past, if we're still carrying on a negative spirit, a negative mindset, a negative perspective, that's a negative filter, right? So now, Pastor Nick, he brought another spin to it, right? When it came to this filter series, he brought that sometimes we are so comfortable in these filters because of fear that we have in our lives, right? We allow fear to control us. We allow the fear to adopt these filters and keep these filters. And really, it's hard to remove these filters because we move with fear sometimes. We act out on fear, right? So um, he says, what affects your body will always affect your soul, and you must discern what's true to you versus the real truth.
Yep.
To challenge your fears is to get to the source of it. When you feel fear or when you're fearful, you run towards God, when you experience that fear, or when you're in that moment of, I don't know if I can go on. If, like I said earlier, when you're in that wilderness, when you're in that dark season right now where you're just allowing fear to control your mind, control your perspective, control anything that you do, any movement that you do, you should move towards God, right? So Maya, what was your thoughts of Pastor Nick's spin on this filter series, where he says that, we allow fear to control these filters, allow fear to make us adopt these filters and keep these filters, right?
Yeah. No, I thought it was brilliant. And it's so true, because we really do allow our fear to hold us back from a lot of things. And that's because it takes us outside of our comfort zone.
Yes.
A comfort zone of, not being hurt, or being vulnerable and having to share things with others, or, vulnerable in the sense of letting the things that happened in the past affect any future relationships or interactions that you have with people, because you're afraid that they're going to hurt you like how you were hurt in the past. And it really is something that is at your own hindrance instead of protection.
Yeah.
Because like Pastor Nick said yesterday, he talked about how we flee from it at times instead of taking it for what it is and say, look, this is something that I'm feeling right now, but instead of, I'm going to fight back.
Yeah.
And that's the power that I think we all have dangling in front of us, that at times, because it is something outside of our comfort zones, we don't take the opportunity to own who we are as God's children and say, I'm going to fight back because God's got me, or whatever. I can conquer my fears, blah, blah, blah. So I think it's really pivotal that we're having this conversation right now and how it relates to our filters, because being able to see ourselves and how we handle these situations that might cause fear or anxiety in our lives can really allow us to shift our perspective and how we move forward.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I love that he used the title Fight Back, because fight back, it's demonstrating that, like you said, we do have that fight in us, no matter who we are, no matter how many times we went through things or how old we may be. I feel like sometimes we may say to ourselves, like, I don't have that fight in me. I don't have it. I don't feel it, right? I think just knowing that we do have that, that's enough to say, you know what, whether, like I said, whether it's, you got to deal with the small accomplishments to get to the big accomplishments. So I feel like first addressing that, you do have that fight in you. You just have to find it. You have to find it, like like Pastor Nick said, to overcome the intimidation, you have to pinpoint the voice of fear. So the fact that you know that you have that fight in you, no matter who you are, no matter how many times or how many years you've been dealing with the thing, you have to pinpoint that voice of fear, right? And not get comfortable in that. Because like you said, I think we do get comfortable in that fear, because it's like being a mouse on a wheel, where you just keep going, keep going, keep going. Like, I'm going to keep dealing with this, because it's also a comfortability in it, because I'm fearful of what is actually going to come out when I actually fight back and I'm victorious. I think people are afraid of what victory actually looks like, what victory is actually going to feel like.
Yeah.
And what's going to come out on the other side. Go ahead, Maya.
That's exactly what I was going to say, because then it brings up that question, okay, of, oh, now what? What's next?
Yes.
And then that also leads into performance. Now that I did this, okay, I need to keep it up so that people don't think that I'm slacking, or really I'm not as good as they think I am. And that spider web of feelings and emotions that comes with that mode of thinking. But yeah, exactly what you said, Kev.
Yeah. And I love that it is the what's next. And the what's next can be for anyone in their life. It could be a high schooler that's graduating high school and they're fearful of what's going to happen because they don't know what's going to happen next. It could be you overcoming or having victory over a generational curse. And now you're like, what's next? I think the what's next is what's the scariest part for individuals. And I think because I am someone that always has to have everything planned out. But God had to teach me that sometimes things are not going to be planned out. And sometimes whatever happens next, you just have to know how to pivot from those things. You have to know how to overcome certain things.
Yeah.
Even if you don't know what's going to happen next, be comfortable in that. Be comfortable that, I went through this, I'm going through this, I'm going to have victory in it. And God is going to lead me to whatever is coming next,
Yeah.
right? I think the what's next is the problem or the fear,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Because I think it hits at insecurity of control
Mm-hmm.
of
Oh, that's definitely me.
being the fear of being out of control.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's comfort in knowing, okay, this is step one. You go through this, this, and that, and then you get to step two.
Mm-hmm.
So when you feel like that's missing,
Mm-hmm.
it opens the door for so many possibilities that you might
Yeah.
not want. And that's very humbling, for lack of better words, to be able to relinquish that power in having to trust God
Mm-hmm.
solely with what the outcome's going to be,
Yeah.
right? And it's for me, and I might be a little left field in this. I feel like that also presents the opposite in control,
Mm-hmm.
because you're saying, okay, look, God, I got this. I mean, you got this. I'm going to give it all to you. And what that does is take control from the enemy and putting all those little sprinkles of doubt and
Mm-hmm.
insecurities
Yeah.
and low self-esteem, low confidence. It
Yeah.
takes the control back of him puppeteering what your thoughts and emotions are and saying the puppeteering and just giving it to God.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really it's really put into practice of the saying, like, I'm giving it to God.
Mhm.
We love to say that all the time, no matter what we're dealing with, no matter what we face. We always like to say, I'm gonna give it to God. But do we actually give it to God?
Well,
Are we actually allowing him Are we allowing him to be in the driver's seat of
mhm.
what's next? Are we allowing him to be in the driver's seat of our
Yeah,
success, of next dimension? Are we telling him, no, you could be in the passenger seat, I'm still going to drive? Like,
right.
what's going on, right?
I am a passenger seat princess. Ride, drive, take the wheel. I will sit here. I'll put my feet up and let you just do what you got to do. And trust that you're going to get me to the destination that you have for me. Sometimes that's what it takes, is to just say, God, like, because by me trying to give direction or going crazy and saying, yelling, and everyone's been in the passenger seat. So we know that when we're in this,
Mhm.
we're secretly driving along at the same
Yep.
time. But
Hmm.
sometimes when you do that, you end up causing more trouble because you're causing distraction
Yes.
and you're building up an excitement for things that don't have to be there,
Yeah.
which can cause an accident for the person who is
Hmm.
driving. Not
Yeah.
saying that you're going to cause God to do anything by accident, but the point being is that you could inadvertently steer yourself off of the path that He has for
I
you.
was gonna say you can go on a detour.
You know,
Hold on now.
so,
God made one go one way, and now
yep.
you didn't tell him you taking a detour. Like,
Mhm.
listen, I think that is when it comes to this whole, and I love that Pastor Nick talked about how fears really control our filters. It's true, because I feel like a lot of our filters, I know they have been adopted and based and birthed through our experiences, but I definitely feel like fear plays a big part in why we adopt certain filters and why we allow our filters to have so much control in
Mhm.
our lives, in our decisions, in our relationships, in our interactions, and also in what we're believing God for, whether it's healing, whether it's chains being broken, whether it's generational curses or whatever it may be. Fear plays a big role in that. And we
Mhm.
have to really, like we just said, have to put God in the driver's seat and just say, give it to God, right? And not second guess ourselves or second guess what God is doing for us. All right.
Absolutely. Drop
So
the mic, Chris.
we just love to just come on and just give you just a summary of what happens for us for the encounter service. I truly encourage you to, if you enjoyed today's discussion, I encourage you to go back and watch it. We always have a rebroadcast of the service of last week for our 8 o'clock service.
Mhm.
So you get to hear 8 o'clock service, and then you get to come to 11 o'clock service to hear the continuation, because people at my job have been listening to the filter series, and they have been saying how on point it has been, because it is something that we all can resonate with, no matter who you are or where you are in your life. So we do encourage you to go back, watch previous services, as well as be intentional when it comes to taking those filters off and really putting God in that driver's seat, right, Mai?
Absolutely. You said it. And I have to make a comment to Sister Helene, who said,
Uh-oh.
if I can eat candy corn, then why can't she have the chocolate cake? I had
Mm.
never said anything about you eating chocolate cake. Go have as
Uh-oh.
much German chocolate cake as your heart desires.
Uh-oh.
We'll do the same with my bag of
Uh-oh.
candy corn.
I know that's right. I know that's right. But no, as always, we are just so thankful, and we are appreciative of you guys being online with us, commenting, liking, sharing. Even if you're tuning in later when it's not live, we appreciate you guys. It
Yeah.
does not go unnoticed. You make this broadcast what it is. So it is our prayer that you have a blessed and safe week. And as well as we get to see you in for Wednesday service, as our word impact, as well as Sunday, uh, as Sunday the encounter service as well. But Bethany family, from Kev and Maya, we love you guys. Want you guys to have a blessed and safe week, and we look forward to seeing you next Monday, same time, same place.
Bye.